Kneel before me, and despair, is what's written on the horns of Mephistopheles. What is up, my fiery amigos? It's your boy GD Inferno Boy here, and welcome back to the channel. It is time for the Mephistopheles guide, but before we get into anything related to the guide, let's talk about what it takes to get into the Mephistopheles fight in the first place. So to start off, you're going to want to get Director's Cut by completing all 5 of the main Easter eggs. And then you need to do all 5 of the main Easter eggs again to get a talisman. Now, there are 2 ways to check to see if you have this. The first one is to go to the film select screen. You're going to see all the films have a star on them. If the star is shaded in green, you have the talisman. If not, play the film, get the talisman. The second way to check will be the Pack-a-Punch room. In each Pack-a-Punch room, there is a soul jar next to the projector. Above the soul jar, there are going to be symbols that are outlined in white. These are the talisman symbols. In order from left to right, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Those represents the film. First one being Spaceland, second one being Rave, so on and so forth. Now, let's go over the Fate and Fortune cards first. Fate and Fortune cards that I used in my game were 5-second Muscle, Head Reloaded, Explosive Touch, Twice the Pain, and Second Wind. Now, the other cards I would recommend would be Best for Last, of course. Evade specifically is one you would want the most. Raining Bullets and Phoenix Up. You could use stuff like Perk and Short if you're going in there without Director's Cut, but I would recommend every player in your game have it because it'll make it so much better for you. And big shout out to Destroyer, FBM Showtime, and Mr. Steel Girl for being the people in this game that still like to do this meth fight for fun. Especially Steel Girl and Showtime because they were absolutely cracked. They didn't go down a single time in the entire fight until the very end, which is unfortunate. And for talking about guns to use, there's only one gun you need, and it's going to be the Mauler Sentinel. I've tried this in solo with the FHR-40, and I've tried this in solo with the Kendalls. The DPS value on the Mauler Sentinel is the highest out of every gun. It's the best for the fight. And then the Kendalls, they're okay. I would still recommend the Venom X though, and it's over the Kendall any day of the week. Now, to actually get into the Mephistopheles fight and earn this epic calling card you see on screen, you need to first complete the Beast from Beyond Easter egg. Once you have completed the Beast from Beyond Easter egg, the cutscene will play and then you'll be dropped into this room. The only way you're getting into this room is if one player has all 5 talismans. In this room, you're going to see a mystery box, a perk icon, the Fate and Fortune card meter, and plenty of arcade games to kill the time. You have exactly 5 minutes to get whatever you need before you get kicked into the Mephistopheles boss fight. Again, Mauler and Venom X, those are the only 2 you're going to need gun-wise. Other than that, get whatever you need. In my game, I was using Head Reloaded and 5-second Muscle in the Beast Bite, and I didn't have Evade, unfortunately. I forgot to put it on, or I just was using different cards I had at the time. When the 5-minute timer is up, whether or not you're all ready, everybody will be put into the Beast from Beyond cutscene for Mephistopheles, and then it's Mephistopheles fight. The way this fight works, there are a total of 6 phases. You have the 5 talismans, and the 6th phase is just pour damage into them as much as you can. I'm going to go through each of them first, how the phases work, the attacks you can look out for, and then up to this final phase. For the first phase, it's the same for all 5 talismans. You need to go to a talisman of your choice, hold X to place the talisman to charge it up. Now there is a strategy to whatever talisman you want to pick first. The one we chose first was the one in the triangle. It is the center of his chest, and also this will be helpful for later because there's an attack that will absolutely destroy you if you're on that talisman and you're not ready. I'm going to go through all the spots now. The first spot is the one we started on. That's the one on the center of his chest. The top left one is the one on his right shoulder. The bottom right one is the one on his left shoulder. And then the other 2 that are left are his left and right pec. The strategy I like to use is the top one, the top left, the bottom right, and then the 2 pecs. But in our game, we went top left, bottom right, bottom left in that order. Every strategy is different. It's just the way you plan it out is how you plan it out. Now, this can be left into the comments. I have no idea exactly how it works. Whether it be more players charge it or more players with the talisman that charge it. That's something I just don't know. I had a little bit of an argument last time I brought it up. But when you place a talisman, every player does need to stand on the circle. You will hear this sound. That sound is the sound of a segment charging. If you look on the talisman floor where you're standing on, the ring has 10 segments. Every time you hear that sound, it's a segment being added. If you step off the talisman for too long, the segments will go down, so it's a constant charge by you standing on it. During this time, Mephistopheles will have one of 4 attacks he will throw at you. The first 2 are the most obvious. One is Rising of the Skeletons to deter you. The second one is his main attack, the Fireball. He will thrust his arm out and then shoot 4 fireballs at you. They are very quick fireballs. It's an insta-down if you get hit by them. Honestly, I got hit with most of his attacks during this fight because he just had my number during the entire thing. You'll see right now that I got hit with all 4 of his fireballs because I wasn't looking up. So for all of his attacks to read them, I would just recommend keeping your eye on him at all times. But the other 2 attacks he can do during this phase will be the Black Hole and the Fire Breath. Now the Black Hole, if you look at him and he holds a sphere in his hand, he's ready to project it into the middle of the floor. There are 3 ways to get around this attack. Number 1 is lay on your stomach, go prone. This is the best way because during this time that you're going prone, you can easily charge the talisman. The second way would be go behind the 2 pillars on the left and the right side of the playing field. And then the third one, just stay on the outskirts of the entire edge of the arena, and you should be fine. The Fire Breath, you'll hear this sound, and then he'll just blow 1 line of fire down the middle. Now, if you get caught in it, it's an insta-down. Otherwise, it dissipates rather quickly, so you won't have to worry about it too much. It's honestly his weakest attack out of the 7 he has. When you have filled the talisman entirely, with the orange ring going all the way around through its 10 segments, you'll start to see souls fly out of the talisman. What you need to do now is grab the entangler you had from the Beast from Beyond Easter egg, and take the souls, throw them at Mephistopheles, just like you're throwing a cube from Ghosts and Skulls at a skull. Now, I don't know how many souls it is on co-op, what the scale is. I know for sure that on solo, it is 4 souls. And I think it took us 16 to 20 souls just to get him taken care of. So I think it's either on scales of 4, like each player needs to do 4, or each player needs to do 5 in co-op. I'm not exactly sure. But once you throw all the souls at him, the flames on his back will dissipate, and then he'll appear in the middle of the arena to shoot his talisman on his body. I can tell you right now that I was prepared to do that, but my teammates were not. There's actually a little trick to this. If you look at what my teammates are shooting at, they're shooting at the talisman while he's in the air. This is something you can do. If you shoot it before he hits the floor, you will not need to shoot it when he hits the floor, and then you can go to your safe spot. But there will be times where you can shoot it as much as you want, but he'll still have some health left. So in that case, you need to find it on his body and then shoot it. When you shoot the talisman off his body, you go to your safe spot, which is where you spawn in, and then Mephistopheles will block out the sun with a ton of rocks. When he does this, there will be a ton of phantoms and cryptids that spawn in. I think it's about a minute long, and then he'll then spawn in a ton of enemies at once. Zombies, cryptids, phantoms, and a film-specific enemy. The first phase is the first film, being zombies in Spaceland. So all that's going to happen is he's going to spawn in clowns, and clowns alone. Once that's all done, you need to go behind one of the 2 pillars on the side to protect yourself from the final attack, which is the meteor shower. If you're in the middle, it's an instant down. For this to work, just stand in the shadows, and then you can go on to the second talisman. For the second one, we did do the one at the top left. Now there is one of 3 random attacks that can happen during the second, third, and fourth phase. They're always added in random order, but these attacks are the wall, the grand slam, and the meteor. For the meteor, you're going to hear this sound. And what's going to happen is Mephistopheles is going to throw a lunging arm, just one arm thrown like a fastball. Okay, he's going to throw it down onto the arena. And this will target one of the 4 players in the game, and it is a giant meteor. It has a very large radius of effect, so I would stand clear of it at all times. The second one is the wall. This one's a little harder to read because it looked like he's summoning zombies with 2 hands, but instead he's going to go ahead and clap his hands together, and then the wall will form one line, kind of like a fire breath, but it's an insta down and it stays up longer than the fire breath. And it also separates players too. That's why the first talisman we did was the one on the center of his chest, because the wall can cover that if that's his first attack. And if everybody's standing on that, everybody's dead. There's nothing you can do about it. And then finally, the third attack is the Grand Slam. For this Grand Slam attack, he'll kind of crumble away like a broken rock and then reappear in the middle, rising from the floor. This is not an instant down. It is definitely a red screen, though. So you can just stand on the outskirts or even behind the rocks. It doesn't take that long. I think it takes like 3 seconds, and then the attack's done. It's not. It's kind of like the fire breath. It's not very effective, but it's something to look out for. But again, you're going to repeat the process. Charge the talisman, throw the souls at him, and then shoot the talisman on his body. For the second wave of the sun being hid behind rocks, it's going to be the same thing. Cryptids, phantoms, and a bunch of zombies. This time, the film-specific enemy is the slasher. Fortunately, the slasher does not charge at you. He just kind of walks at you. I don't know if his saw swipe attack is an insta-down, but it's definitely an attack that can hurt. But with everybody having maulers, it shouldn't take too long for him to die to his own weakness, his helmet, and then it'll be behind the pillars for the meteor shower. Again, the third phase comes in, one of the 3 random attacks being the wall, the Grand Slam, or the meteor. Repeat the process. Fill up the talisman, chuck the souls at him, shoot the symbol on his body, and then go to the safe spot. The third phase is going to be ninjas, so follow the same procedure. Kill the phantoms, cryptids, then kill all the zombies at once. Hide behind the pillars. For the fourth talisman, do the same thing. It's going to be either wall, meteor, or Grand Slam that appears. When you do the process again of filling the talisman, shooting the souls at him, and then shooting the symbol, the next enemy type is not going to be attack. I don't understand why IW didn't add Krogs or Krogzilla in this boss fight. I couldn't tell you. But it's actually going to be the blue mammoths. Now, don't worry, they're not bullet sponges. It's not going to take as long, but they still have the same health as a rhino. Just keep that in mind. So I would recommend this point just kind of spreading out. You see, I kind of got bodied by both of them at the same time. Oh man, I was going through the ringer in this fight. Let me tell you. And then finally, for the fifth one, do the same thing. There's one more attack that he can spawn in, but it only spawns in on phase 5, and that is the Fire Tornado. This isn't as bad to avoid as you think. You kind of just need to strafe left and right, but it'll start in the center and branch outwards with 4 mini tornadoes, kind of like if you played Mario Party 3, it's that one mini game, Hyper Hydrants, where the hydrants just kind of spread out like that. That's exactly what it is. Anyway, but that attack's easy to avoid. Do the same process. Fill the talisman, chuck the souls, shoot the talisman on the body. Now, there isn't going to be a lockdown with the room going dark. Instead, at this point, it's going to be do all the damage in the world you can to him. Now, I know what you're thinking. Other guides may have said, shoot the talisman on him when it's glowing. That may be the case, but I've checked both Codename Pizza's video for when he did it solo, Metabot's video for when he did every single Easter egg you can do in Beast from Beyond, and even the Easter egg speedrun on this map for being 9 minutes and 57 seconds. All 3 videos just did straight damage. So that's what we need to do in this case. Now this is where Explosive Touch comes in handy. I would say just pop it now and just kind of move left and right with Mephistopheles and keep your eye on his attacks at all times. If you pop Explosive Touch, you'll kill every zombie in the area except for the phantoms. Careful of the phantoms, you'll have to shoot them in the head. That's what head reload is for, so you can reload your magazine whenever. Now, there were a couple times where I went down for this. First one was the Fire Tornado. I was not paying attention to the middle. Either that or it was the black hole. The black hole, I thought it was behind the pillar when I was in the middle of the floor. It's fine. It happens and we make mistakes. Now, while you're doing this, when everybody's just doing all the damage we can to him, the talismans in the middle of the arena will start to rise. And when all 5 have risen, any player in your game will need to hold X on the talisman to interact with it. I wasn't doing that because I think at this time I died to another attack and I was just on the floor for it. But Showtime was running around holding X on all the talismans. When this does happen, all 5 talismans will hit Mephistopheles, and now it is the final fight or flight. Everybody needs to pour their bullets into Mephistopheles before he does his final wipeout attack. This black hole he's raising above his head is a wipeout attack. If no one gets him damaged in time, he'll kill everybody. But we all had maulers, and except for Destroyer, he had an auger, but still everybody was laying bullets down, and he was done before the phase even happened. And that, my friends, is the Mephistopheles guide in 2024. I do hope this helps out a lot, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.